All right, thank you so much for the miracle introduction class. And I'm really happy that you're here and that you took some time to sink deep into the idea of miracles and see, we're all basically in a preparation. You know, it's like a preparation for remembering that we communicate together, and we do that as say coming from a human background, which is quite a disability, so to speak. It's quite a disability, and so to remember miracles where you're completely entitled to, which you actually are yourself, um, is good to do this course. You're like, why wouldn't you want to do this course? It's gonna be it's a must do because you are a miracle mind. It is pretty amazing that we remember that we are miracles ourselves. So that is what this course is for, to remember that completely wholly, and you will never forget it again once you experience it, because it is for you. It is not made for anyone else. So that's why it's so appropriate that you're in this class or listening to this class, and that's really great. Because see, the miracle is not some kind of thing that's far beyond everything or very this or that. No, it is very natural. It is very natural. If you don't experience them, something has gone wrong. Is what they say. It's like something just went wrong, in the sense of it is natural for you to experience miracles and see how time collapses in your life and see how you are the miracle. Literally, you bring yourself into situations and situations start to shift. And there's a to experience this miracle, there's going to be a shift of perception, and that is not that's not abstract. It is not abstract. No, it's an actual alive experience. It is very much alive, and that is so great. We're all coming into the direct experience of these miracles. So it is up to you. Do you want to experience them? Are you open enough to have that as a possibility in your mind? Are you enough miracle minded to receive it? And that makes them fun. You know, it's not just like after a long this or that, finally I experience a miracle. No, it is here. It's available. It is the most natural communication. It's a gift from you to your brother. It's something that you receive together. So it is available. It's available. You know, in every instant you can basically give one away, and so that helps to demystify the whole idea of a miracle, because it is being in a direct communication with your creator. It is natural for miracles to happen. You know, it's natural that this is for you a remembrance of your true identity. So that is what is so cool. And yeah, we will read today too. We will have a moment in which we start reading. Um, so we left off somewhere the last time. So today is still the part. It's an introduction to miracle principles, and is actually the name of the chapter, miracle principles. And then the next part, the next section is the relationship of miracles and revelation. So then you see, like, oh my God, this is actually leading to something. Like receiving the miracles is something that you give to your brother. It's in between, say, literally to establish your connectedness with your brother. This is the means to do that. Like with your talks, with your social adaptation, it is not really communication at all that you learned as a human being. No, but miracle, it's like using the miracle in your communication is a whole different thing, in which you immediately together remember your connectedness in communication with your creator. You literally directly experience that with your brother. And that is a relief. That's a, yeah, it's a way of loving your brother, loving your neighbor as yourself. So that's how you can see it. And then moving through that idea, coming to revelation, when you become revelation ready, so to speak, it is like you are going to have an individual, say, deep, personal, intense experience of connecting with your creator, literally a direct communication, which is possible. You know, we've been sitting in churches forever, in generations long, and thinking that you need to die in order to come into communication with God, or I don't know, all kinds of ideas. But one thing for sure, it was that for sure you're not going to get that this lifetime. That was how it was preached in the churches. So this is the total speed up in that sense. It is totally different. It is nothing to do with limited ideas. No, this is your privilege to come into, and it's also your natural inheritance to come into a direct experience with your creator because he created you. And basically you've been denying that there is a direct communication always. And so the restoration of your communication with your creator is basically what you can call your spiritual path. You know, it's like, yeah, that's inherent in you. Your soul is still in full communication with every aspect of creation. It is just not in your awareness because you have chosen to get something, so to speak, that has nothing to do with that communication. You literally built a whole world around an idea, how, yeah, around the question, like, how would it be to be without God and doing things in my own way and trying to figure things out for myself. So that is what you did with your mind. You literally carved a piece out of eternity, which is impossible in itself, and started to believe that you actually did that, and also feeling guilty about it. So there's something like, as soon as you did that, you started to believe in what you were doing. You literally started to materialize it, to prove it to yourself that it actually occurred. And you've been keeping that up to this point. You know, you have been keeping that up for a very long time, like millions of years we tried to do this. So it's deeply ingrained into every cell of us to defend that, to prevent yourself from literally collapsing into your true nature. And now you come to the end of that journey, that's detour into a very fearful, basically very fearful way of living that you called your life, but had nothing to do with who you really are. It wasn't like an, say, a chosen identity. It was a made up, man-made identity that you started to defend and that you took very serious, and that led to all kinds of trouble. You know all about that. We're all experts in that, basically. If you want to see it like that, we did a really good job. We managed to come up with an idea where you actually start to believe in what you make up. And we did it so well that we even didn't, we literally forgot how to get out of it. And that was a bit upsetting to all of us. That's why we're here. So we're in this, basically in a class full of disabled ones, disabled angels. You know you're an angel, you know you're perfect, but you just don't know how to come into the experience of that. That's all. So luckily, we start off with this idea of miracles in which we're going to recognize in each other that if you let go of your judgment of your brother, which you made up, which has no reality whatsoever, you can actually come into a direct communication with your brother. And that feels so good that you don't know, you want to scream it off the roof when you experience it. It's like, oh my God, I love my brother so much, I can't believe it. Oh, wow, thank you, God, that there's such thing as my brother. You know, this is after a very long journey of hating him, of not forgiving him, and staying with your right, and not wanting to be happy, and all of that scenario that you can think about. So that is quite amazing. So this is basically the background basis idea of how we got to this Course in Miracles. Like, after this very, very, very long and exhausting and painful journey, we came to pose one question, and that was this: there must be another way. This cannot be it. And of course, it was obvious to everyone that looked beyond it. It was obvious that you had another choice. And yes, that your father is waiting with his arms wide open to come, to let you come back to him. So he sent out some help for you, which is really great. He sent out some help that can help you to return back home. And he actually says, well, if you really want to, you can do that right now. There's nothing stopping you from returning back home. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing went wrong. No, you can return home. No problem. Are you coming with me? And you have heard that call too at the same time. You've heard that call. And now suddenly you feel maybe some fear, or maybe some like, well, I don't really feel good about myself. I really don't want to enter in like this. I don't, maybe later, but at least not now. I just don't want to do it now. So that's another part of the spiritual story that we're in. So we're actually, so the second group then that already heard the call, that want to start to answer to the call, and see that we're a bit afraid to take certain steps. And so there's no problem either, because like, to return home is returning back to timelessness. So if you do that now, or you do that another moment, it is all fine. That's already accounted for. So this is where we are. This is where we find ourselves. So we're going to return back home together. And there's a loving Father, we know that. So we can return, and it will be really good and comfortable. And it will be free of suffering. It will be free of disaster. It will be free of limitation too. And maybe there are other things that you really don't like about the place that you find yourself now. Well, you're going to be free of that too. So that is unbelievable what is being offered for basically in an exchange of you, an exchange in which you just have to show your willingness to take a little step in the direction every time, a little step in the direction of returning home, a little step. Not more is asked. And at the same time, you will discover that you have enormous help to come back. So that is like every step that you take is going to be, has great support. That makes it really easy for you. So every step that you want to do is also confirming to you that you're connected, and it confirms to you too that you're in good hands, that you actually have nothing to worry about. So that sounds like a pretty good offer, doesn't it? And still we put our nails in the ground, or our knees up to our knees, or whatever we do to prevent that from happening. And so this training that we're in, this course that we're doing right now, is helping us to speed up that whole process. Because if you had to wait before this all would naturally come to you without any action from your part, that can take a very long time, as you know from yourself too. And so some help that can speed up this time that you go through, like things already being learned by someone who knows, who went through this whole process and actually directs you back to, yeah, you gotta go this way. Yes, take 2 steps. Yes, on those stones, you put your feet on those stones so you don't drop in the water. Yes, indeed. Oh, that part will carry you, and so on. So there's a master connected to this, and he's actually directing you continuously, and makes it easy for you if you want to connect with him. If you rather do that too, the return home on your own, you can do that as well. So that is also legitimate. It's like there's nothing wrong with doing it your way, but it will just take a little bit longer. And if you have time to suffer through that, so to speak, then you can choose to do that. If you don't have a choice anymore, then you know what the next step is, and that you're completely being carried all the time. So this is my like I'm actually a bookseller or a miracle seller in that sense. So I'll try to make it as easy for you to step in as possible, because it's worth it, and it's very natural to receive the miracles from your brother, from me in this moment, to see that the communication is unbroken, that we're absolutely one together, that we're one, there's only one of us, and that we are returning back home, which is an absolutely no sacrifice action of ourselves. Nothing is, you don't have to sacrifice anything to make that happen. So that's so great. So today, to come into your miracle mindedness, what do you need to do? That is then like, okay, yes, I'm willing to go this far, and I'm willing to open my mind up. So what do I need to do for that? Well, to open up your mind, would help for you not to let your thoughts that are slipping in, to take those serious, and just to let them be and let them go, instead of engaging with them, instead of following them or using them to defend yourself or anything like that. So you just leave them for what they are. And that's the same with the emotions that are coming up. You're not going to suppress them or thinking that you shouldn't have them or this or no, not at all. So you can let it all come up. You can release it if you want to. And at the same time, you don't have to pay that much attention to them. They will come anyway. That's fine. And it can, of course, help to relax, to breathe, to to comfort, let yourself be comforted by this, by being open to receive something that's actually maybe not absolutely not understandable, but it makes you feel good for one or another reason. And you don't have to figure out that reason. So it's more like, yes, I'm going to accept this now. I'm just letting that affect me. I'm just letting that happen to me, and see what that brings to me, because that sounds a lot more interesting than where I found myself just a moment ago. So, see, your mind opens. It is not so difficult. You can do that. Like, oh, okay, I don't have to pick up my thoughts. I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm just going to breathe a little bit and pay some attention to my breath, maybe, or just listening, or just completely relaxing and allowing that silence to come to me, and see that, oh, wow, that's a beautiful communication right there. I love that. I love that. So I'm going to listen what is being said, coming from within me. I'm going to let that flow through me and let it affect me. And I love to feel the comfort of that, or of that direct communication. Like I'm embedded into this. I'm literally embedded into it. It's like a real inclusion is taking place. I'm actually starting to come into a prayer right now. I'm going to include everything in. I'm going to be open to accept what comes to me. Thank you, God, that this is possible. Thank you so much for this moment, that I can actually relax into that I can feel there's presence and communication going on, even though I don't know exactly what that means, but I can feel something is different, and I love that. I'm not going to be afraid of that. I'm actually starting to remember that I was created by my Creator, that I am as God created me, and that I don't have any reason to fear anything, that I can feel myself completely comforted, and that is also completely okay, that I don't need to do anything else. I can allow this. In this moment, I can allow that to occur to me. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's great. That's lovely. See how easy it is to become still and to allow this just to occur to you, and come into a nice and silent, like still layer inside yourself. So yeah, to release, we have the breath. You can breathe through sighing, like, oh, or you can yawn. That can help very well too. It's like, okay, I'm really feeling shifting into a different frequency now. It's like I need to breathe. If I need to yawn a little, that comes naturally. That's perfect too. And sometimes you just need to cry a little, you know, or to laugh a little. Let your poor heart break a little. That's the glory of love. You know, that's the glory of love, returning back to love. Sigh a little, cry a little, let your poor heart break a little. So why not let your heart break a little? You know, then it's open again. Because open-mindedness is also completely connected to the heart. So it's like as soon as you open your mind, literally there's more space to come here into your heart center. So it's like whatever comes from here sinks through to this place here. So that let this warm up too, let this expand to your heart center. And when I say here, this your heart center, it's not necessarily a place in your physicality. With an open mind, you can let yourself be directed by your heart and your soul, like your heart and your soul are connected to one another. So, because in the first chapter of the Urtext too, there's a lot of soul revealed to you. There's a lot of, say, miracle principles connected to the idea of soul. To mention one, I'll read it quickly. To mention one is the, I hope I can find it, of course. I just saw it a minute ago. That's always so funny, isn't it? There's really no way for me to find that. If it isn't given, I cannot find it. It's fine. So the coming from, with your heart, if your heart is opening, you feel that you start to feel good. It's like it has part of the relaxation. You come into a loving mode, if you want. It's like a loving mode. You feel much more than when it's just mind chatter that you're following up to. It feels pretty empty and superficial. So now we sink already deeper into our heart and feel that heart opening up. It's like, oh yes, I love this one, I love that one, I love God, I love, I love this, what I'm feeling. I love the stillness. I love to feel the expansion that's going on in my mind. I feel so good about the idea that I'm returning back home. I feel so good that I did not make myself, but that I'm actually created by my Creator. So yeah, there's your open-mindedness, there's your miracle-mindedness. It's always connected to your heart. What is a miracle but remembering that, remembering your love for your brother, forgiving him for what he did not do to you, forgiving yourself for what you did not do to yourself, but where you just were holding on to as a painful memory that you kept repeating over and over to hurt yourself. And you don't do that anymore. You don't have to do that. You can lay that down. You can always choose again to lay it down and to not let that determine who you are. So this is very much like a moment of healing together. Can you feel that? Like, that's so nice. It's beautiful. This communication that suddenly is possible. That is so lovely. Yes, that's great. No, you don't have to do anything with your ideas about what you're doing right now. No, no, everything is allowed to be there. Everything is allowed to be as it is.